Hello Internet! I'm Hazel and today I'm going to be going over what we know about Destruction Warlocks in Legion. We'll take a look at the original preview blog post, the spell changes and removals, the new talent tree, and the artifact weapon traits. Of course, it's still early in development, so keep in mind that things can and will change. The full original blog post by Blizzard is linked in the description below this video. In the blog post, Blizz states that destruction mechanics are in a solid place overall and are already a good match thematically, so we're taking the opportunity in Legion to provide additional polish in existing gameplay. What this means is you're going to have mostly the same core abilities as you have now, with the big changes being to the talents, mastery, and the resource system. In Legion, all Warlocks are moving to a Soul Shard resource system, which means no more burning embers. You'll have 5 Soul Shards to work with, and they're either full or they aren't. No more Ember Bits or Fractions or weird proc math. You'll generate Soul Shards with Conflagrates and Immolate crits, and spend them on Chaos Bolts. Let's talk about Mastery. In Warlords, we had Mastery Emberstorm, which increased the damage and effectiveness of most of our spells. The name was cool, but the rest of it was pretty forgettable. In Legion, we'll be getting Mastery Chaotic Energies. Our destruction spells will deal up to 40% with Mastery from typical gear, additional damage, randomly. They really want to emphasize that whole Wanton Chaos thing. This means that sometimes you'll do Wet Noodle damage, and sometimes you'll do Death Noodle damage, and there's no telling which it's going to be. Over a fight, it should average out, and if you like seeing the occasional giant number pop up, you'll have fun. If you like theory crafting or just doing consistent damage though, this is going to be a bit of a pain in your butt. A couple of our spells are getting flat out removed in Legion. Dark Intent is gone, along with most group buffs. Dark Soul Instability is getting axed along with the other Dark Souls. Ember Tap is gone, which makes sense as there won't be burning embers. Flames of Zoroth, that cooldown that insta-revived your pet, that's gone too. A big chunk of talents are also being removed with the overhaul of the talent tree. Dark Regeneration, Searing Flames, Howl of Terror, Soul Link, Sacrificial Pact, Dark Bargain, Blood Horror, Unbound Will, Archimonde's Darkness, Kil'jaeden's Cunning, Mannoroth's Fury, and Charred Remains are all gone. Seriously, all of them. To fill those spots, there's a couple new talents and a bunch of spells that used to be baseline will now be on the talent tree. We'll cover that in detail a little bit later. As far as changes to the baseline spells that we're keeping, there's a couple things to make note of. Chaos Bolt will consume 2 Soul Shards instead of the single Burning Ember it ate before, otherwise it works exactly the same. Havoc will now mark a target for 8 seconds, and all of your single target spells will also hit that dude. This is a big change from the old charge system and should make cleaving a bit simpler. This also makes haste even more valuable, so you can squeeze as much murder as possible into that Havoc duration. Rain of Fire will have a 2-second cast time up from instant cast. That one's lucky, it looks cool. Last, Life Tap is coming back to Destrolux. Start sucking up to your healers now, you might actually end up using it. Maybe. It's hard to say at this point. We also get Drain Life back. Let's go over the talents that we'll be working with in Legion. At level 15, you'll pick between Backdraft, Fire and Brimstone, and Shadowburn. Backdraft is a passive that reduces the cast times of Incinerate and Chaos Bolt by 30% for 5 seconds after you cast Conflagrate. That's a bit different than the old baseline passive, which sped up 1 Chaos Bolt or 3 Incinerates. Because Incinerate won't help you generate Soul Shards like it did with Embers, this is a bit of a downgrade. Fire and Brimstone has been vastly simplified and now causes your Incinerate to hit all nearby targets. That's it. No Soul Shard consumption, no toggle, no spreading Immolate, just a straightforward Incinerate cleave on a talent. At least it's easy to understand. Shadowburn doesn't have a health requirement, and also apparently doesn't have a resource cost. It's missing a cooldown too, so I think it's safe to say that this isn't done yet. The idea will still be casting it on something about to die to make yourself some Soul Shards, so this will be decent on ad fights and in dungeons. At level 30, you'll pick between Reverse Entropy, Roaring Blaze, and Mana Tap. Reverse Entropy causes your Chaos Bolt to restore 25% of your mana. As it stands, this is utterly useless. The only mechanic in place that uses any meaningful amount of mana is on the same tier, so unless something changes, this will be a bit of a moron flag. Roaring Blaze lets you buff up an existing Immolate dot by 50% with Conflagrate. Refreshing the Immolate returns it to normal. This should be good on fights with 2 persistent targets where you can keep the strong Immolate rolling on both dudes. Mana Tap is a new ability, and this is the thing that might make you Life Tap. You consume 40% of your current mana to increase your damage by 15% for 20 seconds. Pair that with Life Tap, which restores 30% of your maximum mana in exchange for 10% of your max health. The idea will be to maintain the Mana Tap buff at all times, while always having enough mana to carry on with your rotation. The less mana you have, the less mana tap will cost, but the closer you get to being empty. At level 45, you choose between Soul Leech, Mortal Coil, and Shadow Fury. Soul Leech gives you a shield for 15% of your incinerate damage for 15 seconds after you cast. This is a big nerf from Warlords, where it also worked with Chaos Bolt and Shadow Burn. Still, passive damage mitigation is always a good choice when you're running around stabbing yourself with life tap. Mortal Coil hasn't changed, still fears one guy for a couple seconds and heals you. Shadow Fury is also unchanged. Your choice on this tier will depend on whether you're needed to help control ads. At level 60, you get your choice of Eradication, Cataclysm, and Soul Harvest. Eradication is a new passive talent that causes Chaos Bolt to also increase the damage you deal to the target by 20% for 6 seconds. Using Havoc will let you apply this to 2 targets, and it seems like a solid option for 1 to 2 target fights. Cataclysm hasn't changed from the Warlords version and still lets you do damage and spread Immolate to a group on a 1-minute cooldown. Soul Harvest is a brand new spell coming in Legion. It's a 2-second cast that refills your soul shards to 5 on a 2-minute cooldown. This will let you squeeze an extra 2 Chaos Bolts in during Lust, Trinkets, Havoc, or anywhere else you want them. At level 75, we have Demonic Circle, Burning Rush, and Dark Pact. Demonic Circle hasn't changed and seems like a default choice for raids and a lot of PvP situations. Burning Rush is also unchanged and will come in handy for puttering around and farming ult content. Dark Pact is a survival cooldown, chunking off 20% of your demon's current health to give you a shield for 400% of that. This will have greater effect with a high health demon like the Void Lord, and it seems strong for soloing elites and other hard content. Of course, if your demon is almost dead, Dark Pact won't help you much. Level 90 brings back Grimoire of Supremacy, Service, and Sacrifice. Grimoire of Supremacy empowers your pet for 20% extra health and damage. It doesn't say anything about giving you stronger demons like it used to, and I'm curious to see if those guys are gone. I've gotten kind of attached to my Observer and I would hate to see him go home. Grimoire of Service is unchanged and still summons you an extra demon for a bit. Grimoire of Sacrifice has changed a fair bit. The old one did all sorts of stuff and was generally the default choice for raiding. In Legion, Grimoire of Sacrifice sacks your demon for a chance at proccing some Shadow Cleave damage. That's it. No survivability, no extra base damage, and it doesn't mention gaining the sacked demon's ability. Level 100 has arguably our coolest talents. Wreak Havoc causes Havoc to last for 20 seconds up from 8 and have no cooldown. Permanent cleaving! If your fight has 2 targets, this is the best thing ever. Channel Demon Fire is a new 3-second channel that launches 15 bolts of Fellfire at immolated enemies within 40 yards. If you've only immolated one guy, they'll all go to him. This is a nice, flexible talent that works for both single and multi-target fights. Fitting in a 3-second channel every 12 seconds sounds like a challenge. Demonic Servitude is still your easy option. You summon a Doomguard or Infernal as a permanent pet, and he does lots of damage for you. For an artifact weapon, Destrolox will get the Scepter of Sargeras. This staff looks awesome. The following are traits that you'll unlock over the course of Legion as you gain artifact power and upgrade your weapon. This artifact tree is very much a work in progress, and I expect to see a lot of change to it before launch. Tearing Time and Space is your first trait. Your spells can punch holes in the walls of space and time, opening beneficial portals. Great. No idea what that's all about, but it sounds cool. Burning Hunger increases the chance for Immolate to give you a soul shard. Seeing as Immolate is supposed to guarantee you a soul shard whenever it crits, maybe this one's a bit odd. Soul Snatcher gives your Chaos Bolt a chance to refund its 2 soul shards. Eternal Struggle causes you to take less damage for 6 seconds after casting Life Tap. Master of Disaster buffs your Incinerate. Price of Power buffs your Mastery. Chaotic energies are randomized 3 times and select the highest value. This should go a long way towards mitigating crappy RNG with your Mastery. Regard of the Sargera gives your spells a 10% chance to proc Doomfire. What exactly Doomfire does is anybody's guess. Residual Flames buffs your Immolate damage, and Devourer of Life makes your Drain Life more effective. Planeswalker makes your Demonic Gate heal you to full when used. Conflagration of Chaos causes your Conflag to always crit, and your crit rating to buff its damage. Fire and Flames increases the haste granted by Backdraft. Fire from the Sky buffs Rain of Fire damage. Lord of Flames causes your Rain of Fire to also rain Infernals. Finally, Stuff of the Universe has the same tooltip as Tearing Time and Space, so that one will likely get a new ability. And that's what we know so far about Destrolox and Legion. I wonder if all the Burning Legion advertising will convert more players to play them. Keep an eye on my channel for a separate video going over the Destruction Warlock PvP talent tree in the next couple days. Let me know what you think and have a wonderful, wonderful day.